Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. So friends, welcome to this Wednesday evening Sutta study. And this evening we are going to go over the Culasaropama Sutta, which is number 30 in the Majjhima Nikaya, the shorter discourse on the simile of the heartwood. Now, probably most of you may understand what the word heartwood means in the ordinary sense. It refers to the real inner core of a tree, especially a hardwood tree. Now, sort of the main wood that's in the center is apart from, its bark and branches and leaves. So if one wants to build a fire, or let's say build furniture, or use wood for lumber, then it's that heartwood of the tree that is going to be, the most durable and valuable. So, again, this is a simile for practicing the Dhamma. So this was given in Savatthi, in the Jeta's grove. And there was a Brahmin named Pingala Kocha who went to the Buddha and exchanged greetings, and then had asked him some question, or made these comments. So I'm just going to read this first paragraph or so. And so he says, Master Gautama, there are these recluses and Brahmins, each the head of an order, the head of a group, the teacher of a group, well known and famous, the founder of a sect, regarded by many as a saint, that is, Purana, Kassapa, Makkali, Gosala. I'm not going to repeat all the names, you can read them later. But these are the 6 or 7 kind of teachers at the time of the Buddha that were expounding their own doctrines, various doctrines concerning the self and is the world eternal or real. We've mentioned them before in other suttas. But most of them are just expounding these philosophies. They may teach some kind of meditation just to gain some jhanas or so on, but they don't really teach, even though they say they do, they don't really teach the path to full liberation or the path to arahantship. Their highest attainments are usually connected with the formless jhanas. So anyway, he asked the Buddha, have all of these famous teachers, have they all had direct knowledge as they claim, because they claim they had a direct knowledge? Or have none of them had direct knowledge? Or have some of them had direct knowledge and some not? And so the Buddha responds to this Brahmin, enough, Brahman, let this be. And he said, I shall teach you the Dhamma. Don't worry about what these other people have claimed or taught. Let me teach you the Dhamma. And the Brahmin kind of like, yes, sir. Yeah, like, he was like, the Buddha had this authority, let me teach you Dhamma. And he lost interest in what these other guys were teaching. Anyway, so then the Buddha gives him this simile of the heartwood. I'm just going to read a part of it. So suppose a man needing heartwood, a wood chopper or so, goes into the forest in search of heartwood, and he comes to a big tall tree that possesses heartwood. But passing over the heartwood, passing over its sapwood, passing over the inner bark and the outer bark. Of course, normally you start from the outer part of a tree and work inwards, but instead, all he does is cut off the twigs and leaves and takes them away thinking they were heartwood. And then a man with good eyesight who was watching him saying, what's that guy taking he said he wanted heartwood. Look at it, he's just taking off these twigs and leaves, he's not gonna get any heartwood that way. His purpose coming to the forest is not gonna be served by just taking off these twigs and leaves. And then you get the second part, he goes on to go over these different, another man, he doesn't stop at just the leaves and twigs, but he cuts off the outer bark, thinking that was heartwood. And then, so he repeats the same thing that this man, thinking at heartwood, he got pleased by just taking the outer bark. And he repeats the same basic phrases for not stopping with the inner bark, but he would, take off the inner bark, and then the sapwood, and then the outer bark. Again, thinking that these were the heartwood. And then finally, after stopping with the inner bark, then the next man comes and he's not satisfied with just the twigs and branches and the sapwood and the inner bark and the outer bark, and he actually does make it to the heartwood. And that man cuts out the heartwood, knowing that it's heartwood. And so whatever the person wanted to make with that heartwood, then his purpose will be served. And so now comes the more interesting part of the sutra. So, that little analogy or simile was, you could say it'd be somebody like looking for gold goes to a river, and then, he gets fool's gold, and he thinks fool's gold is, the gold, and then he, after going all the way back to the town and, goes to try to sell it, people say, well, this is only a fool's gold, it's not gold. So anyway, so this next part, he said, here there's some clansman goes forth out of faith from the home life into the homeless life, considering I'm a victim of birth, aging, and death, a victim of sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. I'm a victim of suffering, a prey to suffering. Surely an ending of this whole mass of suffering can be known. And while he has gone forth like this, he acquires gain, honor, and renown. Maybe because he becomes a disciple of the Buddha, and because the Buddha was, very renowned and famous, that people start saying, "Oh, this is a great, a disciple of the Buddha," or maybe he, can preach the Dhamma, so he's known as a good preacher of the Dhamma, and he acquires gain, honor, and renown. And he is pleased with that gain, honor, and renown, and he becomes satisfied with that. And on account of that, he lauds himself and disparages others, saying, I have gain, honor, and renown, but these other monks, they're unknown and of no account. So he gets complacent, and he has no desire to make further effort for the realization of the higher states, which are more sublime than gain, honor, and renown. So that person hangs back and slackens. So the Buddha then says, I say that this person is like the man needing heartwood, who came to the forest seeking heartwood, just takes, the outer twigs and leaves, thinking they were heartwood. And then in the same way, he goes, he continues and said, well, there's another clansman who goes forth out of faith, and he also gets gain, honor, and renown, but he doesn't he's not pleased with that. And his intention is not fulfilled. So he does not laud himself and disparages others, but he arouses the desire and effort for the realization of higher states. And he achieves the attainment of virtue or morality. His morality, becomes very good, and people are known for his scrupulous, obeyance of the rules, the precepts, and so on. And then he gets pleased by that, and he stops making the effort. And you look at these other uncontrolled monks. They're not practicing the precepts properly, and look at me, I'm practicing them, and so he gets complacent and doesn't make further progress. And so then he continues that, and another person doesn't stop just with gaining virtue, but he goes on to attain concentration. Now, this concentration is basically just the mundane jhanas. So he practices the concentration, and maybe he even gets some psychic power that he could read somebody's mind, or maybe he could even levitate, or anyway, he gains concentration. He can easily get into, let's say, one of the four jhanas, but he does it just for the sake of the dwelling in peaceful states of mind, but he doesn't go on to develop wisdom. So, but he gets complacent with just the ability to attain jhanas and sit for hours in a peaceful state of mind, but he didn't gain any magga and phala from that. So again, the Buddha compares him to the person who goes into the forest seeking heartwood and then just gets the inner bark or the sapwood, and gets content with that. And then the next, then he talks about the next monk who also goes forth out of faith and gains, virtue and concentration, but is not satisfied with just gaining the concentration, the four mundane jhanas. But this person then goes on and strives to attain the magga and phala, or knowledge and vision. Knowledge and vision means attaining the insights leading to magga and phala, stream entry, and once returner, and even never returning, but not arhatship. So you can gain those levels of the magga of knowledge and vision without going on to attain, let's say, the formless jhanas. So, and then he stops with that knowledge and vision. Maybe he attained once returning or so on, and he got complacent with that, or maybe even never returning, and stops his forward, progress in the meditation. And so again, the Buddha describes that person as somebody who goes into the forest and finally gets the inner sort of bark, or what is just next to the heartwood, but stops there. So his ultimate goal is still not fulfilled. And then the last person, I'm going to read this part. So that that person does not arouse the effort or desire to attain those higher states that are more sublime than knowledge and vision. And then he asks, the Buddha says, what are the states that are higher and more sublime than knowledge and vision? And then the Buddha describes the person who attains all of the four jhanas. I'm not going to read them all again because we've covered them before and you can read them easily. And then goes on. He doesn't stop with the fourth jhana, but he goes on to attain the arupa, formless jhanas of infinite space, infinite consciousness, the realm of nothingness, and neither perception nor non-perception. And then by even surmounting the base of neither perception nor non-perception, the monk enters upon and abides in the cessation of feeling and perception. And his taints are destroyed by seeing with wisdom. This too is a state higher and more sublime than knowledge and vision. These are the states that are higher and more sublime than knowledge and vision. And then he says, I say that this person is like a man needing heartwood and then goes in and cuts out the heartwood and knows it's heartwood. And so whatever he wanted to make with that heartwood, his purpose will have been served. And so then the Buddha kind of recaps. He says, so this holy life, Brahman, does not have gain, honor, and renown for its benefit, or the attainment of virtue for its benefit, or the attainment of concentration for its benefit, or the attainment of knowledge and vision for its benefit. But it's for the unshakable deliverance of the mind that is the goal of this holy life. It's Heartwood, and it's in. And then after saying that, the Brahmin Pingala Kocha said to the Blessed One, the Buddha, magnificent Master Gotama, magnificent. Master Gotama has made the Dhamma clear in many ways, as though he were turning upright what had been overthrown, revealing what was hidden, showing the way to one who was lost, or holding up a lamp in the dark for those with eyesight to see forms. Then he goes to the Master Gotama for refuge, to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha as a lay follower for the rest of his life. So that's the kind of the end of the sutta. Now, the import of this sutta is to kind of underscore the true goal of the teaching, which is liberation from suffering, but especially the states of concentration. Now, we often hear one who is concentrated sees reality as it is. But that concentration, is usually refers to the first four jhanas and the attainment of stream entry, or once returning or never returning. So a person can even attain the state of the Arahant by attaining, with the jhanas, if they develop the destruction of the taints, if they go on to realize the arahantship. But it's also to distinguish, there's two types of liberation. One is what's called the Panya Vimukta, or Panya Vimutti, and Cheto Vimutti. And so there are some arahants like Sariputta, it is said, that he was a Panya Vimutti. That means he attained, enlightenment without developing the psychic powers or developing the formless jhanas or Nirodha Samapatti. And then there are what is called Cheto Vimutti, which is someone who goes on to develop the arupa jhanas, the formless jhanas, and also to attain the cessation of feeling and perception. Now, it is said that in order to attain the state of Nirodha Samapatti, one has to at least be an anagami, as well as mastering all the formless jhanas. So there's some people who use the jhanas, including the arupa jhanas, and going up to the state of Nirodha Samapatti. Or, they use the jhanas to attain enlightenment. But only an anagami can attain the state of Nirodha Samapatti, because it requires that concentration to do that, the extreme level, highest level of concentration. And only it is said that somebody who's already an anagami, because they have overcome the ego to a large extent, and also have overcome all the 5 lower fetters, that they're able to attain that state. So they've developed both concentration to its highest pinnacle, as well as destroyed all the defilements. So they are called liberated in both ways. So there are some who just attain the lower jhanas and get liberated just through developing the magga and phala, using primarily the wisdom. So they're called panya vimukti. But ceto vimukti, ceto means the mind. So they develop the mind and concentration to the very highest level, because they go from the form jhanas, the 4th jhana, to then the formless jhanas. In all those successive states, it's like squeezing the last drop of water out of a sponge, the water being, let's say, like the defilements or thoughts and mental activity. So even the formless jhanas have the perception, they're created by the mind. And, the object is still has perception and feeling. So it goes, to the very highest state of neither perception nor non-perception. And then attains the cessation of feeling and perception. And that is what is said also destroys the defilements, because they're nibbana is clearly seen and experienced in that experience. So there's some monks who follow that ceto vimutti, and then others who follow the panya vimukta. But then there are some called liberated in both ways. So you'll see that term in other sutras. Liberated in both ways means they've attained enlightenment through developing insight in the magga and phala, just using one of the 4 lower jhanas as the basis for that. And some arhants don't develop further levels of concentration, but they still have attained the true liberation. But these others who've developed these formless jhanas and attained the Nirodha Samapatti, then they said they've been liberated in both ways, liberated through concentration and liberated through the wisdom. Now, I know this sounds, like out of the realm of most people, and it probably is to a large extent, but nevertheless, the Heartwood, the Buddha considered those monks and so on who were liberated in both ways, considered them, even though their liberation is the same, he considered them the more accomplished and so on. But anyway, but essentially it's that the arhantship, which is the Heartwood of the Dhamma teachings. Now, there was a question last week in the sutta we were going over last week, or maybe it was on the Sunday. The Sunday Dhammapada verses where we were covering the verse that said, one who sees the unessential and the essential, or doesn't see the essential in the unessential, they never arrive at the essential. And so somebody was saying, well, first we have the low-hanging fruit, not everybody can go right for the Heartwood. And so, it's necessary in order to gain these other levels. And for most people, that is true. But again, the Buddha is, talking at a very high level, because he, at that time, you see the monks, and there were so many, like the disciples of these other teachers, they were just teaching these attainments of, the formless jhanas, or just getting caught in philosophical hair splittings and speculations and so on, and being clever preachers and so on, and missing the real boat, So the Buddha wanted to clarify what is the real essence of, especially of his Dhamma teaching. So, having said that much, let's see if there's some questions on the sutta. It looks like there's some chat questions, so let's look at those. Says, what is the difference between immersion and absorptions? In middle of the 5th paragraph in the attached PDF. I think it's just the translation they're using, the immersions or absorptions. Translators use the Pali word is one thing, and the translator will translate it using different words. And we'll see that in so many other instances too. So that's just the prerogative of the translator, based on their understanding, maybe their Dhamma understanding, as well as their, the understanding of the language. But for all intents and purposes, they're the same as the absorptions or the jhanas. Immersion, that means the mind is totally immersed in the object of the meditation, in the applied and sustained thought, or immersed in the piti and the sukha, absorbed or immersed. In another translation, it's called the first musing. They call it musing. And that's kind of a little bit obscure. I think it comes from an English translator, but the first musing, the second musing. So yeah, it can be sometimes confusing if people are reading different suttas. And related to the discussion on chakras, if there's a feeling of strong tingling at the Agnya chakra, what does it mean or indicate? It probably indicates it because of the concentration. You've stimulated those nerves and it's producing some kind of sensation. It could be a pleasant sensation. It could be even, something akin to piti, which feels like a physical, sensation. But because if you're focused on that, you might already be close to experiencing the jhana. So, and that's what some yogic meditators do. They focus actually on that spot, and they can attain jhana just by using that as a nimitta, or just, as a focus of concentration. They can probably attain the jhanas using those chakras. So in yoga, chakra meditations, are used as a basis for gaining the jhanas, but usually it's the form jhanas, or maybe even up to these rupa jhanas, but they don't go on to cultivating the insights as we do in the Dhamma teaching, in the Buddhist Dhamma teaching. would it be fair to say that Heartwood is impervious to change and is useful and valuable? Well, the Heartwood there refers to arahantship. And so, the end of samsara. So, yes, of course, definitely, it's impervious to change, because that state of, arahantship, of, complete nirvana, that state of liberated mind, the deathless state, is, it's gone beyond change. It's beyond birth and death. That's the meaning of it, the deathless state. So, of course, it's useful and valuable. And the same way with all the four paths and fruits, the stage of stream winning, once returning and never returning, all these levels are, of course, useful and valuable, one leading to the next one. But arahantship is really the one that's considered the Heartwood. Is wisdom development more thorough intellectual analysis, discursive thinking, than concentration? Well, you have to balance both concentration and the thinking. Your thinking gets clear as you get more concentrated, because when you get concentrated, you see reality as it is. So the thinking becomes more clear too. The delusions that might have been there before get clarified as you're gaining deeper and deeper concentration. The clarity of the mind and the clarity of impermanence, suffering and no self, becomes clearer and clearer as you develop the concentration. And that's also the bhavanamaya panya comes out of that. So the intellectual is only the beginning level, the sutramaya panya, the intellectual understanding. But you use that in the beginning to keep the mind focused, and as you develop the concentration, you then gain this chintamaya panya, deeper level of insights, and then finally the bhavanamaya panya, which is the attainment of the magga and phala. And they're all connected with concentration. This idea that concentration is separated from wisdom is, I know some people talk about it, but it's not the way the Buddha taught. Not the path to liberation. You can see that very clearly when you talk about, even in the Eightfold Path, right concentration is only right concentration if it's supported by right mindfulness and the other aspects of the Eightfold Path. So wisdom starts with the intellectual understanding, discursive thinking, but it culminates with the concentration in the magga and phala, which is the direct experience of nibbana. What is meant by the unshakable deliverance of the mind? Is it the eradication and uprooting of the defilements? Absolutely, yes. Unshakable deliverance of the mind. That refers again to arahantship. And you could say, to some extent, even the Sotapanna has unshakable deliverance in terms of they've gone beyond doubt, and they would never, they've been delivered from, most delusions and the wrong views. So, so yes, it's deliverance is being delivered. That means overcoming, eradicating those 10 fetters that we've talked about, both the hindrances and the fetters. So it's unshakable deliverance of the mind, because it can never go back or be shaken by anything. This question, if you have time, is it possible to briefly discuss the 4 levels of consciousness? You'd have to elaborate on what you're reading on these 4 levels of consciousness, because it can be interpreted in different ways. So maybe the person who wrote that question, you can email me privately about that, or just you need to clarify what these 4 levels of consciousness are. If it refers to the jhanas, or if it refers to the 4 magga and palas, This last question: when we practice vipassana meditation, is that the panya vimukti path? Yes, for all intents and purposes, it's the panya vimukti path. But that vipassana meditation has to reach the level of supramundane jhana to gain stream entry. So mundane jhana is mundane because it doesn't have wisdom accompanying it. But when the intellectual wisdom and the Chintamaya Panya is developed in conjunction with the jhana, then it becomes, you attain magga and pala, and then it's called supramundane jhana. That's because it has the wisdom connected with it. Mundane means without wisdom. Supramundane means with wisdom. And it starts with even the wisdom of the Sotapanna. It's called the supramundane path, the first stage of it. And so that the jhana that was achieved with the stream entry is called supramundane jhana, because it has the wisdom. And that's what that one of those sections of the simile of the Heartwood was about, that a person gains concentration. He gains his mundane concentration, but doesn't go on to get knowledge and vision. Then the next person goes on to get knowledge and vision. That means that they've combined that mundane jhana with the wisdom and attained the and then was able to then eventually reach the arahant. Chris, so maybe send me an email and we'll discuss it over email, not here. Would you please comment on the importance of jhana? There's an idea that has taken hold in Western meditation that suggests that jhana is unnecessary. It has led to a lot of confusion. Thank you very much. Well, that's true. I know I'm familiar, aware of these viewpoints, and usually it's referred to as dry insight. But at the time, and so in Vipassana meditation, they develop, they have to have some level of concentration, of course. And at the time they attain stream entry, it becomes the jhanic level. So they may not have had practice jhana as a separate kind of practice beforehand. And so they're developing this dry insight, following the Satipatthana Sutta, following developing the 7 factors of enlightenment, using what they normally refer to as Kanika Samadhi, which is a kind of concentration. It's not jhana concentration, but it's called momentary concentration, the ability to stay focused and the hindrances have been put down and the mind is just seeing the arising and vanishing moment to moment of the various sense impressions, but without being distracted by the hindrances. And so if they keep that up, then they can reach the stream entry through that. And that concentration is equivalent to jhanic level concentration. But they don't call it jhana specifically, but it's usually referred to as supramundane jhana, but it can be reached at that same time as they are entering the stream. Anyway, that's just one of the explanations of it. So therefore, I mean, the point is, it's, person doesn't have to spend years and years and years just trying to attain jhana and master the jhanas and think they have to attain the first, second, third, fourth jhana and maybe the formless, the jhanas. So that's not necessary. But it's normally considered that at the time of the attainment of stream entry, that their mind would have been concentrated to the equivalent of jhanic level concentration, where the hindrances were no longer working. And it could be either one of even the 4 levels of the jhana. But they did most of the work through the development of the 7 factors of enlightenment. So if you're familiar with the 7 factors of enlightenment, concentration is, the 6th stage of that 7 factors of enlightenment. After going through and practicing mindfulness, they're gaining concentration while they are developing these insights. Their concentration is getting stronger and stronger, and then it attains jhanic level at the moment they attain stream entry. So for that, yes, but that's not the normal way of explaining it. So therefore, there's this dry insight method, the de-emphasis on people having to spend years and years trying to develop a jhana, because it's very difficult. Master the jhanas, especially all 4 jhanas. And so this is dry insight, and there's references to that in some suttas also about the monks that attained enlightenment without attaining all these jhanas. In other words, that what I was talking about, the Ceto Vimutti. So they're not following the Ceto Vimutti method, because they haven't developed these jhanas up to that level. After the attainment of virtue and concentration, what is the attainment of knowledge and vision? It's the attaining stream entry, as I mentioned. Stream entry, or once returning or never returning, but not arhatship. Or it could be that, but because he's explaining it in this way, he wanted to emphasize that there's some people who just get stuck at knowledge and vision. That means they're happy just to be a sotapanna. They're happy just to be a once returner or a never returner. But the Buddha didn't even condone that, waiting until another life to attain arahantship. He wanted people to go through all 4 of those stages. So that's why the the attainment of wisdom refers to, those stages of Magga and Phala. But it comes after when it's conjoined, becomes super mundane wisdom. So that's why it comes after the concentration. Just as in the 7 factors of enlightenment, when you follow that, one attains the mindfulness and investigation of Dhamma, then the energy, and then the piti, the happiness, and then the pasadi, and then they gain the concentration. So that's the jhanic level of concentration, but it's just before the attainment of enlightenment. So anyway, it's not easy to understand. That's why only somebody who really goes deep into the meditation will eventually be able to understand these things through their own direct personal experience. But if people don't have that, it's like trying to explain quantum physics to somebody who's just taken geometry or something like that. Okay, friends, looks like that's all the questions. Also, kind of time is moving on, so I think we might stop with that. And I just want to mention that I think on the next week, for next week's Sutta, I'll send out a notice about that next Sunday too. But just I think I'm going to cover number 33 in the Majjhima Nikaya, the Maha Gopalaka Sutta, the greater discourse on the cowherd. Okay, so anyway, I'll send out a notice of that. Okay, so let's take a short break and come back and have our stretches and then the meditation practice. Okay. Okay, friends, we're back now, so let's do a few standing exercises before we sit for meditation in order to hopefully get the mind centered, grounded in the body. Just stand straight. Feel your feet pressing the floor. Feel the weight of the arms and the hands hanging at the side. Relax the shoulders. Feel the head balanced on top of the neck. And begin some three-part breathing, or deep, slow breathing. Just take a few seconds to draw the air from the lower lung up through the middle to the top. Feel that expansion in the upper chest. Hold the air in the lungs a few seconds. And feel the relaxing contractions of the out breath. In breath. Hold the breath in. Out breath. On the next in breath, now raise the arms over the head, interlock the fingers, turn the palms up, straighten the arms, stretch the head back, look up at the back of your hands, arch the back. On the out breath, turn the palms down and touch the top of the head. And again, in breath, palms up, straighten the arms, stretch the head back, bend back a little bit. Out breath, touch the top of the head. Third time, pull that upward stretch lung. Feel the sensation. And release the fingers on the out breath, lower the arms back to the sides. Relax, keep the mind focused in the body and feel the increased sensations in your hands and fingers. If you can't feel that, feel your feet pressing the floor. Or remember standing, standing, standing. Just letting go of your thoughts. Just let the thoughts come and go in the back of the mind. Just keep the feeling of the body in the front of the awareness. And the next in breath, push up on the toes while raising the arms up over the head. And this way, face the palms of the hands toward each other about 6 inches apart and stretch. Out breath, the arms back to the sides and the heels back to the floor. Use the breathing to help lift and lower the body. In breath. Stretch. Out. In. out. Just relax, gently close the eyes. Start to feel the increased body sensation. Just remember standing. Now spread the legs apart about 3 feet and hold the hands out and do twisting from side to side. Breathe in. On the out breath, look to the right hand and twist around to the right. The eyes focused on the hand going back. The in breath, come back to the front. Let your feet turn with the body, and then the other side. Out breath. In breath, front. Again to the right, out breath. In breath. Into the left, out breath. Once more to each side, out breath. Out. The out breath, lower the arms. Feel the sensations in shoulders or hands. Be aware of the increased heart beating. Feel each foot pressing the floor. Still keeping the legs spread apart about 3 feet. We'll do side bending, keeping the hands at the sides. We'll breathe in. On an out breath, bend over the right side, letting the right hand slide down by or below the knee. Stretch in the side. In breath, lift up. And the other side, out breath. In. Again to the right, out breath. Out. Let's relax. And bring the legs together. Now do the head turning On the in-breath, turn the head to the right. Try to look over your right shoulder, turn the eyes to the right. Look at a spot behind you. The out-breath, turn the head 180 degrees back to the left. Look over the left shoulder, turn the eyes to the left. In-breath back to the right. Just concentrate into the neck vertebrae. Just feel or imagine them loosening up. Out breath left. In breath right. Out breath left. On the in-breath, let the head stop in the middle. Feel the feet pressing the floor. The arms and hands at the side. The head balanced on top. Okay, this last exercise, the backward and forward bending. Be careful with this exercise, don't bend back too far the first time. Be careful when you lift up from the back bend, shaking of the body, feeling of blacking out. So on an in-breath, make a gradual opening of the arms as you bend back and bring the arms out to the sides. In-breath, carefully lift up. Keep the arms out at the sides, and on the out-breath, bend forward. Actually lower the hands down toward the ground. See if you can touch your toes to the floor with your hands. Keep the legs straight. And begin standing up. Turn the palms outward again. In-breath. Make a gradual V with arms out to the side, bend back. In-breath, carefully lifting up, keeping the arms out to the side. Out-breath, lower the hands to the floor. Again, begin standing up, turn the palms outward, make the gradual V as you bend back. Lift up. On the out-breath, hands to the floor, and head down. And try to hold that downward stretch a little longer. Just straighten the legs. Now begin standing up. You breathe in, bring the hands together at the chest. The out-breath, arms back to the sides, relax. Just keep feeling the body. Sort of feel that increased aliveness of the body, being the activated life force, cellular vibrations from the oxygenated blood. allowing that to let the awareness just rest in the middle, present moment, feeling all those pleasant life force vibrations. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get ready for the sitting meditation. Okay, as usual, I'm going to turn off my video. So just get comfortable on the seat. Whether you're sitting in a chair, try to have both the feet flat on the floor. And sit with the back and the head in a straight line. Just place your hands somewhere where you can keep them the whole meditation period, either one on top of the other in the lap or against your abdomen, or hands resting on the legs. Now gently close the eyes and focus your whole attention down to that spot where the buttocks are pressing the seat. Just feel that hardness, that contact. Just imagine that 100 or more pounds of flesh and bones pressing the seat, producing those sensations. Depending on the contact arises feeling. Try to feel the right buttock and the left buttock, some sensations. It's like looking down through a microscope. Now let the awareness move down the upper legs, around the knees, and down the lower leg to the feet. And just feel your feet and toes. Should be lots of sensations in your feet or toes. Feel the right foot and the left foot. They're both together. Just know that you're sitting. Now let the awareness move up to feel your hands, whether they're resting on your legs or they're against the abdomen or in the lap. Start to feel the fingers, the thumbs and fingers, where they touch together. Feel the subtle pulsation or tingling sensations in your fingers or palms. You just remember that you're sitting. And feel the weight of the arms hanging from the shoulders. Relax the shoulders. Feel where the clothing touches the skin of the shoulders, upper arms or chest. Now feel the head balanced on top of the neck. And keep the chin lifted up level with the floor. And try to find the center of gravity of the head and spine over the hips. As you gently just move the whole head and spine backwards a little bit till you come close to the tipping point. And then just come forward just a half an inch or so it doesn't feel so strange. Just try to maintain that straight and alert posture. Now feel your face. You feel some sensations on your face. Just imagine the face skin stretched over the front of the skull, your forehead and nose, chin. Just feel those little sensations, prickling sensation. Then feel the lips touching together, the upper lip touching the lower lip. So to feel the dryness or the moistness in the lips. All those just different little sensations. And feel the tongue laying in the mouth. Also the moistness, the saliva, if any, being the water vibration. And feel the teeth or gums. It's like turning up the power of the microscope, staying concentrated. Now feel your eyes in the socket and the eyelid stretched over the eyeball. Just try to rest your attention on the eyes. You might see some color or pattern or light or just darkness. Might also feel some subtle vibration in the eyes, eye movement, pulse of blood in the capillaries of the eyes. And see if you can feel that spot in front of the eyes, where the two eyes and the nose come together. Kind of a magnetized sensation. Just rest the attention there on that spot. Feel those subtle sensations, vibrations. From that spot, just let the awareness kind of expand a little bit, just to really feel the outline of the whole body. Just the general sense of the buttocks and feet pressing underneath, the arms and hands at the sides, the head on top. The sitting body. Just mentally remember sitting, sitting, sitting. Try to hold that sensation image of the sitting body in the mind's eye. And then begin taking some deep, slow breaths again, as we're doing in the yoga. Expanding the whole lung from the bottom to the top. You can take some 3-part breaths. And hold the air in the lungs 2 or 3 seconds. Imagine and feel oxygen going into the bloodstream, out to the cells. And feel a relaxing contraction of the out breath. Just take a few more deep, slow breaths like that, cultivating this basic mindfulness. And breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Breathing in, feeling the body in the body. Feeling the body of breathing within the larger physical body. I'm going to try to count the breaths from 1 to 10 to develop a better concentration. Try to continue taking some deeper breaths to help concentrate. So with the next expanding in breath, mentally count 1. Hold the breath in 2 seconds. With the contracting out breath, so count 1. Next expanding in breath 2. Contracting out breath 2. Next in breath 3. Out breath 3. In breath 4. Out breath 4. In breath 5. Out breath 5. In breath 6. Out breath 6. In breath 7. Out breath 7. In breath 8. Out breath 8. In breath 9. Out breath 9. In breath 10. Out breath 10. Now discontinue the counting, discontinue any deep or controlled breathing. Just let the breathing return to its uncontrolled rhythm, but continue to feel it. Keep the attention focused there in the middle of the body, on the subtler movements of the abdomen, stomach, rib cage, or chest during the breathing process. Try to feel where the clothing rubs against the skin of the abdomen, stomach, rib cage, or chest. It expands and contracts, producing sensations. Try to make those sensations the focal point of your present moment awareness. And just knowing when the breath is coming in and knowing when the breath is going out. You know it by feeling it. Sensations of expanding and contracting. Try to feel the 4 phases of the breath. The whole in-breath from beginning to end, and the brief pause. And the whole out-breath from beginning to end, and the brief pause. It's important to try to notice the pauses. It'll help you stay concentrated. And just try to notice how each breath is different. Sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. Sometimes you feel it more in the abdomen, sometimes you feel it more in the rib cage or chest. It's always changing. Use these mental notes to help stay focused and remembering the present moment. Breathing in, sitting. Breathing out, sitting. Or simply in, sitting. Out, sitting. Breath by breath, moment by moment. Just make that the main focus of your concentrated awareness. In, sitting, out, out, sitting, feeling the body in the body, the breathing body within the larger sitting body. But at the same time, be alert for thoughts sneaking up into the mind to steal your attention away. Just keep letting go of the thoughts. Stay connected with the breathing process. Sitting, breathing, sitting, breathing. Be alert for any of the 5 hindrances. The mind is drowsy or the body is slouching, gently straighten back up. Take another couple of deep, slow breaths to help waken up, stay grounded in the body. If the mind is pretty well settled and focused in the body, become aware of other sensations as they're coming and going, in and through the breathing body. Just gradually opening up to the flow of impermanence. The in-breath comes and goes. The out-breath comes and goes. Other sensations on the body come and go. Prickling sensations, itching sensations, aches or pains can be felt in the background. They're all occurring within the larger sitting body. It's breath by breath, moment by moment. Sort of imagine you're sitting in this laboratory. This breathing body is the laboratory. And our mind is the microscope. The concentrated mind. Understanding this body is just an accumulation of billions of cells, four elemental vibrations, a constant state of change and flux. So many different sensations coming, going, changing. But at the same time, various thoughts, ideas, urges may also arise within the mind. The development of vipassana, the ability to notice these flows of impermanence, bodily sensations coming and going, also the mental activity coming and going. That first stage of concentration, the momentary concentration, the ability to notice and kind of follow moment to moment the various sensations or even thoughts, physical sensations, mental activity, they're coming and going moment by moment, but without getting lost in them. Ability to notice that flow of impermanence depends on the calmness of the attention, the concentration. But meditation is balancing both concentration and mindfulness. Concentration is the ability to hold the attention in the breathing body, remembering the present moment, the breathing body. The mindfulness is the alertness for any hindrances arising or other distracting thoughts. The ability to apply the right effort to let go of the distractions. Keep coming back to reground, center in the concentration in the breathing body. Breathing in, sitting. Breathing out, sitting. Connection to present moment awareness. The thoughts come and go, various sensations come and go. The five aggregates coming and going. Just beneath all of that change or physical pains or mental drowsiness or chaos is a parallel dimension of the now, present moment awareness. If you have a good detached onlooking awareness, good awareness of the flow of impermanence, just try to get the feeling of this body and mind being like an empty house, with things knocking on the doors and windows. But there's nobody home to answer the call, knocking on the doors or windows. But there is a sensitive microphone in the house. It picks up the vibration, that knows but doesn't know. Let's try to feel, understand that balance between concentration and alertness. Even if there are painful sensations, they're felt just like sensations floating in the empty space. Just floating through that empty house. Just allow that last trace of I, me, or mine fade away into the background. The knower, the known, and knowing. Let go of the known, which is perceptions, attachment to object. And the knower, which is the sense of I, me, or mine. To experience that subtle dimension of pure knowing, which is underneath all the noise. Dukkha pata jani dukkha bhaya pata jani bhaya Sokapata chani soka hontu sabbe pipanino. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. In this way, may all beings live with mindfulness and wisdom. And thus spoke the Buddha. Again, let's take a few deep, slow breaths and radiate out feelings of friendliness, kindness, best wishes to all beings, starting with ourselves. Just take some 3-part breaths if you can. After breathing in, hold the air in your lungs for as long as you comfortably can to feel the subtle life force vibrations, oxygenated blood going out to all the cells of the body, mind, nervous system. And on the out breath, feel that relaxation into the present moment. Just imagine doing that deep breathing, holding in the air, like sending metta to the cells of your body and nervous system, tranquilizing them. Just wishing the body and mind to be well, peaceful, and happy, free from greed, hatred, delusion, and fear. Fortifying oneself with the patience, strength, mindfulness, and wisdom to meet and overcome all difficulties in life. And expanding that same breathing and awareness to your parents, other family members, relatives, good friends. Just after breathing in, holding in the breath, just really imagine and feel those waves of sensation going into their bodies and minds, soothing the fires of the greed, hatred, and delusion, or pains of body and mind. And with each out breath, just imagine these waves of metta, pure wisdom, pure love, pure energy, just going further and further outward. Even down to Washington, D.C., and all the chaos that's going on down there because of the election, hatred, delusion. Just wishing that may all beings be able to wake up from ignorance and delusions in their mind. May all beings be able to hear the teachings of the Dhamma and practice meditation to free their minds from confusion and suffering. Again, with each out breath, just imagine these waves of metta going out across the whole earth, surrounding the whole earth, permeating, saturating, suffusing the whole earth and atmosphere with these vibrations of pure love, pure wisdom, pure energy. Just with the idea that may all living beings, wherever they might be well, peaceful and wise, free from greed, hatred, fear, and ignorance, free from the pain and sufferings of body and mind created by their unskillful thought, speech, and action. May all beings be able to live peacefully and harmoniously together, understanding the ultimate interconnectedness and interdependence of all things. May all beings be well, peaceful, and wise. May all beings be well, peaceful, and wise. May all beings be well, peaceful, and wise. Now to finish, I invite you to join in chanting the word sadhu 3 times slowly, and chanting the word sadhu, a long out breath. Now place the hands at the edge of your knees and take one more deep in breath. As you breathe in, stretch the head back and pull the hands against the knees. Arch the spine back. Hold it a few moments. Feel the sensation. Then on an in-breath, lift the head up. And on an out-breath, press the chin to the top of the chest to stretch the neck vertebrae. And breathe in, lift the chin up level with the floor. And on an out-breath, relax the body and mind. Put a smile on your face. Okay, friends. So again, that brings our evening together to an end, and but try to continue practicing the meditation and the M&Ms during the week, learning how to maintain your mindfulness, throughout the day, especially practicing the M&Ms once an hour is one of the best ways to do that. And so, especially during this week, everybody's on pins and needles, wondering what's going to happen with, all the strange things going on, the outcome of the election and so on. Anyway, you have to accept that that's the world it is, and great hatred and delusion is still going on very strongly out there in the world. Hopefully, as more and more people meditate and develop wisdom, that can gradually change. Okay, so I'm glad you could join this evening, and
Thank you, Bhante.
see you again next week, Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante.
You're all welcome.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you. Everyone Saranai.
Everyone, Saranai.
Everyone Saranai.
Sutta Day.